Hello everybody, this is Shane Armonroe from NVIdia Shield Zone. We're going to show you today how to install and run an FTP server on your Shield Android TV. This makes getting files to and from the device on a PC or on a phone or any other server or device that requires FTP access. It works fantastic. So you will need to have Sideload Launcher installed so that you can get to non-Android TV apps. We're going to use the ES File Explorer that everybody loves so much to actually install the APK, and then we'll go in and configure it. So I have already taken the APK file. It's named com.theolivetree.ftpserver.apk. It's available right from the tutorial that's on the same page as this video. Download that first, stick it on an SD card or a flash drive, whatever you need to do, plug it into your Shield Android TV. Using ES File Explorer, we're going to go in and look at the drive that has it on there. Alright, so this is sort of my work drive that I use for moving stuff around before I had FTP. I actually had to dig this drive up. And there it is, com.theolivetree.ftpserver.apk. We're going to go ahead and install that guy. No. Although I'm sure it would pass. Just don't want to go through the trouble. Alright, so I'm going to hit done instead of open just so you guys can see how to get to it, what it looks like. Alright, so we're going to get out of here. We're going to go back, hit home, go back to Sideload Launcher. Alright, and what we're looking for is a little folder with the earth that says FTP Server, and we run it. Alright, this is it. Now it is ad based, so you know, you'll see the ads at the bottom. It's not a big deal. First thing you want to do is go up to Settings and Network Interface, right? So I use Ethernet exclusively on my Android TVs, right? So I use Ethernet. Port, right? I'll use the default port of 2221. Passive ports, I also leave that set for the default. Anonymous user. I don't necessarily want anonymous users being able to come in. It's not really a big deal since it's a private network, but why take a chance? Username, yeah, I don't want Francis. So I'm just going to use Dark Uni. Right, and again, this is local FTP access, so I'm not really concerned about using a super strong password. Oops. Alright, just something to keep it from being anonymous. Home directory. Where do you want it to go? Me, I'm good with it going to the internal SD card. You could change that, of course. Read only, that's in case you only want to be able to get files from it but not write. Show hidden files, sure, why not? Energy saving mode. I do not use that. I don't really care. I want it to be on. High priority service. I don't want the service killed if my memory runs low. I want this thing running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week when that sucker's on. And yeah, I'll look at the server details. Perfect. Hit back. Now I'm going to go down one, even though it doesn't highlight that big power button, it's there. Press A, and it's running. So now I have an FTP server available on that FTP address with that port, with those credentials, right? Now for the next part of this, I'll have to go over to a PC and show you what it looks like to actually access this server. Now, I can hit back or I can hit home, either way, and that server is still running. I could put this unit into sleep mode and the server is still awake and accessible. That is huge. That allows me to get to and from my files even if the unit is off. Now, this will not survive a reboot. If you reboot it, you'll have to go rerun the FTP server. Now, there are apps that let you wedge applications that run at boot time. That's beyond the scope of this tutorial. However, if you want to make absolutely sure no matter what happens, power loss, reboot, anything that the server comes back, there are ways to do it just outside the scope of this particular tutorial. So once again, get there with Sideloader. and go to FTP Server, you'll see that it's still happily running, and even Android's automatic memory cleanup will not kill it should you run out of free memory. It's pretty small, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. So that concludes the Shield piece of it. Now we're going to go to an actual Windows PC. I'm going to be using Directory Opus, which is an amazing file manager, to actually access these files. I'm going to show you how to set up an FTP site in that, a permanent FTP site, and show you how you can get in there and move your files around and show you just how easy it is once you have an FTP server. We'll be right back.
And we are back here on the PC in a Windows 7 virtual machine. Now we're going to take a look at how to get to that FTP site you just set up on the Shield Android TV. We're going to look at it from just using a simple Windows Explorer, and then we're going to go and look at a little bit of Directory Opus, right? So if you've already got an FTP client you're comfortable with, this may be a useless part of the video for you, but you still might want to stick around and just see what some of the cool things that Directory Opus can do for you. So let's start off. We've already got our FTP service running. Let's go ahead and bring up a standard Explorer window. You could also do Windows Explorer, whatever makes you comfortable. I don't even know how to get there. That's how often I use Windows Explorer. Alright, it's the same thing. I just happen to have a shortcut down here. Alright, so really all you have to do is go FTP : the address 192.168.1.28.2221. And there you are. Right now you are looking at your FTP site running on your Shield, and you should be able to recognize a whole bunch of these folders: Android, music, pictures, all the same sorts of things you would see if you were actually looking at your SD card, and you are. So now you're here. You could do anything you need to do. If you need to tidy up some ROMs, move some things over, whatever you need to do, basic file management, maybe copy an APK over, right? That's a common thing to do, right? Here's Arc Browser, a signed copy of that I pushed over for testing. If you were to have had that sitting on your desktop or in some other folder, you could copy it right over. It truly beats doing it the long way and copying it to a flash drive or to an SD card, setting up a big deal with ES Explorer, or even copying it to Drive and then going back into Drive on the Android TV. So this is really like the most seamless way I could come up with to actually get to the files. Read, write. Obviously I can't install from here, but it's what I got. So this gives you basic access. Now let's go over to Directory Opus. Directory Opus is a file manager. It's not free. It's actually fairly expensive. But once you start learning how to tap everything it does, it's actually quite a good value. But let's just look at it real quick on how to get it set up for FTP. And then you can go and look at my review or watch some videos on Directory Opus to see just what you can leverage and how you can leverage this amazing product. So let's go first to FTP. Edit address book, go to sites, hit the little icon, new FTP site. Let's call this Shield 16 gigabyte. No comment. Site address 192.168.1.28. Port number 2221. We do not want an anonymous login. Username darkuni. Password darkuni. Probably just fat fingered that. And do we need an initial directory? No, we just want to go right to the SD card. We're going to hit OK and OK. So now you see under FTP here in the folder tree, you actually see that your FTPs are listed here just like everything else on the computer. A simple click and you are into your FTP. Now almost all the features that Directory Opus offers the regular file system you can do also with the FTP. Namely, this will be renaming type scenarios. With ROMs you always have a ton of renaming to do, right? If I go into Genesis, I might see various types of suffixes or prefixes. Maybe I'm in a, let's see, do I have DS in here, right? So here's a good example. Let's say that I've got a whole bunch of games in here, but they all have like these scene numbers on the front. Well, I don't want the scene numbers. I just want the names of the files. So while I'm here, I don't have to copy them locally. I don't have to do anything. Directly through the FTP, I can go ahead and select those files, and I'm going to use the rename tool. Now you may see the preview turned off the first time you run Opus. Right? I'm going to go ahead and turn the preview back on. And here we go. So now you have a pretty rich file renaming package. A lot of people use like advanced file rename or some other separate rename tool to do this sort of job. But why would you want an external program if the actual program you're using to manipulate files and work your file system can have it built in? So here's what we need to do. We need to replace everything on one side of the one side of the dash. Right? So what we want to do is, we could do it this way, right? So we could say the old name is that, and the new name is that. If you look down at your preview window, it does exactly what we want. That's kind of counterintuitive to what we're looking for, right? We're trying to do all of these at one time. If I had like 6,114 items in here, I would want to do something a little better, right? So I could go to regular expressions. Now, regular expressions are a whole different ball game. I'm going to search for any characters, a space and a dash, and then any other characters after that. This is just regex stuff. Then what I want to replace the name with is just the second name, the second asterisk, right? So if I put a /1, it would catch this one. If I put a /2, it catches this one. Let me expand this a little bit. So what you see here is I've dumped everything except for what existed as this dot asterisk, right? Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted, right? Let's say, for example, you wanted, okay, well, let's do that first. Let's just let it go. All right, and you see we got exactly what we wanted. Notice it also picked up the save files too, which is great. Right, so let's say you need to get rid of trash man or this U with brackets. This is a perfect time to use find and replace. Let's grab those, hit rename. This time we're going to do a find and replace. We're going to search for space, open paren, U, close paren, and we're going to replace it with nothing. Now, look down here. All of the U's, this one didn't have a match, that's why it's grayed out. All of the ones that have the U in it, the U is gone. It's exactly what I wanted. Perfect. Hit OK. And you can see Directory Opus took care of it. I mean, this is just one small example. The rename tool is extraordinary. You can actually go in and script. You can actually write scripts if you want to do your rename. If you go from simple to advanced, if you go to script mode, you can actually write VB script on renaming your things. Conditionals. If the file name contains this, then do this. If it doesn't contain that, then do that. So if you're a programmer, you can really leverage this whole thing. We're going to take that out. There's other things too you commonly do with pictures and things of that nature, right? So let's do this. Surely I have some screenshots captured. Let's go to pictures, screenshots. Oh, I can see I've already been in here monkeying with things. Let me see here. So let me go ahead and hit rename on all of those. Let's rename it from, let's see. Let's rename everything to everything.jpg. All right, so now there's actually files here. Now, if I wanted to preview one of these, I can. By double-clicking it, it will quickly copy the file over locally and execute it. So it's not really, you can see up here it's writing it to a temp file. So if you were to want to open a 2 GB movie over FTP, it wouldn't pop up this fast. But suffice to say, it works. One of the things you see here probably is the sequential numbering. Obviously, the sequential numbering is not always guaranteed by whatever application you're using. So sometimes you may want to change that numbering process, right? So how can we fix this? Let's say that I want a number starting at 0, 100, going up by ones. Now take a look here. It automatically knew to get rid of the other numbering and change the numbering to this new numbering system, right? You may use something like that, you may not, but why not have the power available to you to do that? So anyway, that's just a quick overview of just some of the features that Directory Opus will allow you to have, along with, of course, the transparent access to your FTP. Right? So I have some movies in here. I could double click on one small one. It'll quickly copy it over, and then I can watch it. This is a recording I made from the lean back launcher earlier. Right? So there's all sorts of different things you can do. Let's see. You can also open, let's see, do I have anything on my desktop? No. Let's copy a file over to my desktop. One of these videos. I have a built-in previewer. Then we can do a quick preview on it. And you can see Opus starts playing it for us inside of this little window. There's also a metadata editor for those files that have extraordinary metadata, such as pictures and MP3s, things like that. But that kind of goes beyond the scope. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed taking a look at Directory Opus. I hope you enjoyed being able to access your files via FTP quickly and easily on the Shield Android TV. And please, I seriously recommend taking a look at Directory Opus. Go to reviewlagoo.com and search for Directory Opus. Take a look at my review and see if it's something that you can use. I feel naked without it, and that's a horrible vision if you've ever seen my picture. This is Shane R. Monroe with NVIdia Shield Zone. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.